All right, here we are in 2025. And let's be honest, the financial world is changing faster than ever before. We're all feeling it, this storm of geopolitical shocks, completely unpredictable interest rate moves, and these sudden liquidity crises that just seem to pop up out of nowhere. In all this turbulence, the old certainties are failing. And out of that, two assets, once seen as total opposites, are now emerging as these twin lighthouses of safety. Today, we're diving into the new reality of gold and Bitcoin as the ultimate safe haven assets.
This quote right here, it gets to the absolute heart of what we're talking about. This isn't just about charts and numbers, it's about a fundamental human need for peace of mind. I was talking to an old investor friend of mine, a guy who's traded everything under the sun, and he told me, I'm done. I'm done with the market chaos. I just want to sleep well at night. And that feeling, that captures a massive shift that's happening. When things get this volatile, security becomes the ultimate prize. And that is exactly why gold and Bitcoin are now at the center of the conversation.
So let's just quickly break down the drivers of all this chaos. Global inflation has been this stubborn beast, right? And it seems like central banks are, frankly, losing the battle to tame it. They're caught in this frantic cycle. They hike rates, then they cut them, then they second-guess every single move, and each decision sends these huge shockwaves through the markets, rattling everything from stocks to currencies. This isn't just another economic cycle. We are in a perfect storm.
Now, to really understand what's happening in 2025, you have to look back. The financial markets, at their core, are just a machine for measuring trust. And history is our guide to how that machine works when it's under serious stress. Every major crisis has taught us the same brutal but very consistent lesson about where money flows when fear takes over.
Let's just walk through this timeline, because it tells such a powerful story about how trust has evolved. It all really starts in 1971. This was a pivotal moment when the US completely severed the dollar's link to gold. That one decision untethered our entire monetary system, and it's when gold truly began its modern life as the #1 crisis asset, a stateless store of value. Fast forward to 2000, the dot-com bubble bursts. Billions in paper wealth from tech stocks just evaporated. But gold, it held its ground, reminding everyone of the difference between speculation and real value. Then came the big one, 2008. The entire global financial system was on the brink. Giants like Lehman Brothers were collapsing, and gold didn't just survive, it thrived. And it was right from the ashes of that very crisis, a crisis of centralized trust, that Bitcoin was born as a direct challenge to the whole banking system. And by 2020, during the shock of the pandemic, we saw something totally new. Both gold and Bitcoin surged as investors scrambled for shelter. Which brings us right here to 2025, where these two assets now stand side by side as parallel safe havens in the storm.
So following that path, let's first talk about the original pillar of stability. Gold isn't just a commodity, it's a monetary asset that runs on literally thousands of years of history and human instinct. And in 2025, it is not a relic. It is experiencing a massive resurgence, and it's being driven by some of the most powerful players in the world.
And here's the crucial point. Central banks are on an absolute gold buying spree. And this isn't about decorating their vaults. This is a strategic geopolitical power play. As countries all over the world look to reduce their dependence on the US dollar, a trend we call de-dollarization, they're turning to the one asset that is truly neutral, that cannot be printed at will, and is free from any single government's control. That asset is gold. It's their quiet declaration of monetary sovereignty.
And this chart really just shows you the sheer scale of what is happening. I mean, look at the net purchases by central banks in 2023, 2024, and the projection for 2025. They've hit modern highs. This is not retail demand. This is nations like China, India, and Turkey buying massive amounts of physical gold and bringing it home. This institutional tidal wave is what's providing this powerful tailwind for gold's price, pushing it past key thresholds, as you can see here, like 2,300 and even 2,450 per ounce, levels that were just unthinkable not too long ago.
But gold is no longer the only player on the safe haven stage. Bitcoin has emerged as its digital counterpart. Now, it was born from a completely different philosophy, one of code, decentralization, and mathematics, but it is now fulfilling a remarkably similar role for our digital world.
If there was a single event that changed absolutely everything for Bitcoin, it was this. The approval of spot Bitcoin ETFs in the US legitimized the asset for the largest pools of capital on the planet. For the very first time, conservative pension funds and massive asset managers had a regulated, familiar, and easy way to get exposure, without all the complexities of private keys and digital wallets. It basically put Bitcoin on the same investment menu as stocks and bonds.
And the response? It was immediate and it was overwhelming.
Financial titans like BlackRock saw over $10 billion flow into their Bitcoin products in just a few short months. When institutional money enters the game, the rules change. Bitcoin is no longer just some speculative asset for young traders, it is becoming a core component of global portfolios. It's being completely repositioned.
And that repositioning is being validated by some of the smartest minds in finance. When a legendary macro trader like Paul Tudor Jones, a man who literally built his career navigating global markets, makes a statement this bold, the entire investment world stops and listens. It lends this powerful credibility to Bitcoin's emerging role as a serious hedge against the debasement of currency.
So this brings us to the core story of 2025. It is not a battle of gold versus Bitcoin for the safe haven crown. The real story is gold and Bitcoin. It's the story of two very different worlds converging to meet the same fundamental need, the preservation of wealth in a very uncertain age.
Think about their fundamental drivers for a second. Gold reflects our traditional fears, the ones rooted in history. It runs on instinct. It's this tangible monument to a proven past. Bitcoin, on the other hand, it reflects the fears of our modern era, the fear of currency debasement in a digital, programmable world. It runs on logic and technology. It's a symbol of an unfolding future. But in today's inflationary environment, they are both pointed directly at the same target.
And we have concrete proof of this new reality. In late 2024, the financial world witnessed something truly rare, an event that traders are now calling the dual safe haven day. On one single day, as the U.S. stock market was bleeding red, both of these assets moved in concert against the tide. Gold rallied a strong 3%, and Bitcoin surged an incredible 7%. For any seasoned market watchers, this was a flashing signal. The market is now officially treating both as legitimate parallel refuges when systemic risk is high.
This has given rise to a really simple but powerful new framework that smart money is adopting. When general market instability spikes, the instinctive move is to buy gold. When the fear shifts specifically to currency printing and debasement, capital flows into Bitcoin. And in the environment we have right now, when a persistent, high inflation and geopolitical uncertainty, the strategy becomes clear. You buy both.
What we are all witnessing is one of the most significant shifts in financial trust in over a century. It's this quiet but powerful migration away from absolute faith in centralized systems, in governments, in central banks, and the currencies they issue, and towards a belief in assets that are independent and uncontrollable. We are seeking trust in things that cannot be manipulated by a policy decision or a late-night tweet.
So you have to ask, why is this all happening with such force right now? Well, it's because the traditional pillars of a portfolio are failing us. For the average person, money is losing value faster than their salary can grow. Government bonds, once the bedrock of safety, they just don't feel risk-free anymore in a high-debt world. The stock market's path forward is anything but a straight line. Real estate is choked by tight credit and a lack of liquidity. And through it all, central bank policy has become reactive and honestly impossible to predict. Investors are being forced to look elsewhere.
And this is the crucial point right here. This entire movement is not about speculation. Holding gold and Bitcoin in 2025 isn't about trying to get rich quick. It's about a defensive philosophy. It's about protecting the wealth that you've already built from the silent erosion of inflation and the loud chaos of market volatility.
Turbulent markets are the enemy of the reckless, but they are an ally to those who know how to defend. And in the complex landscape we have in 2025, building a wise defense for your portfolio isn't just a good idea, it's the absolute key to survival and long-term success.
And so, I'll leave you with this one question to reflect on. Gold and Bitcoin are more than just assets. They are declarations. A declaration by those who want to preserve value, and a declaration by those who see the deep flaws in the current system. In a world where faith in our traditional financial structures is being questioned every single day, the most important decision you can make is answering this: where will you place your trust?